Human trafficking, a national crisis. Michelle Fergueli was 15 years old when she was first lured into a sex trafficking ring. Her friends had met people on social media who seemed friendly at first. Soon after, they exchanged phone numbers and made plans to meet up in real life. The traffickers offered to pick her up and drive her home from the mall one Friday night after school. The traffickers wined and dined her, and she felt that being around these people fulfilled a gap that was caused by her insecurities. After 2 months, the traffickers began to exploit Forgueli, forcing her to enter into the sex trade. The exploitation continued for years, until she came into contact with Walk With Me, a Toronto-based social service agency. This occurrence isn't as rare as you would think. In 2023, there were 570 cases of human trafficking reported in Canada. 93% of victims were women and girls, and 23% were under the age of 18. So what is human trafficking? Human trafficking is the recruitment and exercising of control, direction, or influence over the movements of a person to exploit that person, typically sexually or through forced labor. Victims suffer physical or emotional abuse and often work in horrible and unsafe conditions. Traffickers control their victims, such as by taking away their identity documents, intimidating them, and threatening them with fatal consequences if they attempt to escape. Human trafficking violates human rights protected in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, including Article 3. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Article 4. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Article 5. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment. Young or vulnerable people are most at risk for human trafficking. Children and teenagers are more at risk due to their trusting nature and lack of experience and awareness on this topic. Homeless youth are very vulnerable to being trafficked, as traffickers often promise food, shelter, or job opportunities in exchange for forced labor. These victims are often approached by traffickers at bus stations, youth shelters, malls, or online. Traffickers often target someone they know. This could be a family member, friend, or coworker. A trafficker may pose as a Romeo pimp, which means they act as a potential partner and then use the victim's feelings to manipulate them. They may also pose as a gorilla pimp, which means they use violence and assault against young victims to force them into doing labor. Traffickers may promise jobs of modeling, housekeeping, hotel labor, or restaurant service. There are 3 common steps in human trafficking. Step 1. Luring. Traffickers fill voids in a person's life in order to gain their trust. This could include love, money, or friendship. Traffickers often make false promises about work opportunities, money, and helping the person's family. Step 2. Grooming. Traffickers isolate their victims from their friends and family. Traffickers often force or trap their victims through blackmail, confinement, abuse, and threats. Step 3. Exploitation. Traffickers take full control of their victims' lives. Over time, the victim becomes more and more reliant on their trafficker. This could be emotional or financial dependence. This makes it very difficult for victims to seek help. It is important to know the signs of human trafficking in order to recognize when you or a loved one is at risk of being a victim. Some signs include signs of physical abuse, such as bruises and scars, having no choice about working hours or conditions, not having control over one's money, suddenly having expensive clothing or items, spending a lot of time on their appearance, and not having access to personal identification documents. If you see something, say something. If there's immediate danger, call 911. If you suspect someone is being trafficked, call the Canadian Human Trafficking Hotline and provide as much information about the situation as you can. Support the victim by providing a safe space for them to talk and helping them with their immediate physical needs, such as water, food, shelter, and medical care. If you know a victim of human trafficking that needs support, the National Human Trafficking Hotline connects survivors of human trafficking with support services. It is important to take precautions against human trafficking in our day-to-day lives. 1. Set your social media accounts to private and turn off location sharing. Traffickers can use this information to recruit victims. 2. Remember that everything you put online can be seen and shared. Traffickers use people's photos and personal information to contact, blackmail, and groom them. 3. Beware of job advertisements that are vague and advertise high wages for little work. 4. Report suspicious online activity or accounts to the authorities. It is important to spread awareness on this topic to educate our communities on the importance of ending human trafficking. 1. Learn more. The Canadian Centre to End Human Trafficking is a great resource to learn more about signs of human trafficking and grooming practices used by traffickers. 2. Speak up. Initiate conversations about human trafficking with your friends, family, neighbors, classmates, and coworkers. Share resources and tips for staying safe against traffickers online. 3. Make change. Write to the elected representatives in your area to encourage them to address the issue of human trafficking. 4. Support positive practices. Buy from businesses and brands that don't use slavery or child labor. Together, we can help end human trafficking. Because humans are not for sale.